Oh, hey, sup, it's Ralph Bob.
Hello, my friends. We're doing good. We're doing good, right? We got some Mythic Plus news, some changes to the dungeons that I wanted to go over, and I kind of wanted to give my opinions and feedback on things that I would like to see in the upcoming Mythic Plus to Shadowlands. If you guys subscribe to the channel to get more World of Warcraft news, World of Warcraft content, come over to the stream as well. Twitch.tv/RalphBob, where we stream 5 nights a week. So come over there and visit us, and let's get into what the changes are for Mythic Plus. So there's only 8 dungeons in Shadowlands. Seems kind of a low choice, but they're probably going to roll out some more as the expansion goes along. Maybe they're saving them up. Changes to existing affixes. We got a couple of them down here in the list, and they're adding the new seasonal Affix Prideful, which in BFA the last 3 seasons had their own affix. The last one was Awakened for the Nyalotha. So what Prideful does, players overflow with pride as they defeat non-boss enemies, eventually forming a manifestation of pride. Defeating this manifestation greatly empowers players. So the more enemies you defeat, the manifestation of pride spawns, you kill it, and you get stronger. You can use this to benefit yourself, either fighting bosses or killing a pack of mobs that you want to destroy really fast. So with a couple of the changes to some of these affixes, we got Bursting. Bursting is now a magic effect that can be dispelled. Damage is now a flat amount that scales with keystone level rather than a percent of players' maximum health. Some of the developers' notes here: while the percentage damage made the affix feel very consistent, it also led to an odd interaction where having more stamina felt like a penalty instead of a bonus. There you go. So Bursting is the one where every time you defeat an enemy, you get a stack of Bursting, which will start doing a percentage damage. So now it's a flat amount that scales with keystone level instead of your health, instead of a percentage of your health. Decent change. And it can also be dispelled. So if there's a target where you're like, oh man, he's going to die, if he does not get dispelled or get some sort of special treatment right away, where everybody else can probably have pop defensives or have a health stone, somebody's just like out of the loop, you can dispel them real quick or try to get a little bit ease up on the damage. Volcanic Damage, now a flat amount that scales with keystone level, similar to Bursting. They added functionality. Players hit are now knocked into the air. So Volcanic used to just erupt and just do a big chunk of damage to you or anybody who is standing in it. Now it's going to knock you into the air. As responsibility for this affix is often placed on healers, it felt appropriate to shift its emphasis from damage to disruption. They changed the damage a little bit, and now it's going to knock you into the air, so you're going to be disrupted from casting or doing any sort of interrupts or damage. So it's good to that. You definitely need to avoid this if you want to keep like your consistent damage going and just keep rolling and flowing properly. Sanguine, duration reduced to 20 seconds. It was a minute before, so it's the time is lowered. While players have many options to deal with Sanguine, we recognize that it can feel rough in dungeons with many tight corridors. Reducing the duration of Sanguine pools should make their placement feel less restrictive in those dungeons. 20 seconds seems kind of low. That doesn't seem like it's going to be that difficult to deal with anymore. I mean, Sanguine was something where you kind of forgot that it was there until like when you first pulled the very first mob in the dungeon, and you're like, wait, why is this mob not dying? You're like, oh shit, there's Sanguine. You gotta pull him out, and then you realize that you're like, oh, okay. It can get kind of nasty sometimes, but yeah, I mean, it's a nerf to Sanguine. I don't think Sanguine weeks are going to be that difficult anymore. Let's see. For Grievous wounds, damage is now a flat amount that scales with keystone level instead of percent of maximum health like before. Non-periodic heals now remove 1 application of Grievous wounds. This allows healers to more reliably triage the effect while dealing with heavy group damage, and adds more texture to choice between fast and efficient heals. So it gives the healers a different way to deal with this effect. It gives them a choice, which is nice. That's cool. Let's see. Explosive now appear slightly farther away from enemies that summon them. The goal here is to make explosive easier to see and target, as they're less likely to be directly on top of other men. Yeah, so explosive, when you had a group of enemies, you had like 4 or 5, and then you had a couple explosives going off, people just are like completely oblivious that that's even happening, and then all of a sudden everybody's dead, and it's like, what just happened? But yeah, this is a good change. It kind of makes it a little bit tougher on melee to swap targets, to step away from the groups because they're a little bit farther away from the target. But if it's easier to see, then it's going to be a benefit, I think. All right, here's what it looks like when you get knocked in the air. Kaboom! Nice. Also, so those are the changes to some of the affixes. It seems like the rest of them are kind of static and pretty normal. There's been some data mined information, I think. Well, it says it's on the changes to Affix rotation appearing to be coming in Shadowlands, with recently data mined storming Affix being added to the rotation. We speculate that skittish and teaming have been removed and replaced by inspiring and spiteful. So there's a new storming Affix. While in combat, enemies periodically summon damaging whirlwinds. So this is one of the things that I was really hoping that they would do, was add new affixes to the dungeons, because it's been getting kind of stale. Everybody's been kind of like hoping that will add something new, not just the seasonal affix, but something more in depth and things that people can deal with in a different way, and just make the dungeons more exciting. A lot of people were asking for like positive affixes, to like something that you have to work for to make your character really, really dope. Like the prideful affix is a positive affix, where you get damage if you do a certain thing. And I think people would respond to that, so you put a big negative, like bursting, fortified, and then a positive one, where you have to work towards it, but the payoff is huge. And I think they could do well with adding a few more of those into the dungeon for sure. A couple other things that I would like to see added is Mythic Plus only gear, and Mythic Plus only transmog, and Mythic Plus only mounts. I would like to see more cosmetics and more trophies, so to speak, towards doing Mythic Plus and towards doing high-end keys. I don't do crazy high-end keys. I never have. I mean, I've done a couple 15s, like that's just where I'm at. If you're pugging, you can't really go that high unless you're like really trying to sit there for a couple hours hoping the group will invite you. For the people that have guilds and are just pushing Mythic Plus, I think there should be something said to putting gear rewards in Mythic Plus to make people go and do it more consistently and want to do it more often. I think there's raid mounts, there's raid transmog, there's PvP mounts, PvP transmog, PvP gear, raid gear. It's like, but there's nothing specific to Mythic Plus. And also, I think this is kind of a side topic, but I think Mythic 0 should drop blue level items, and I think the items that drop in normal, heroic, and Mythic 0 of dungeons should not be the items that drop in Mythic Plus at a higher item level. I think they should be entirely different pieces of gear that are tuned and adjusted towards Mythic Plus, and like set bonuses towards Mythic Plus, just things that are beneficial to being in the dungeons and trying to push and push and push and push and give you more reward for that. I think people will actually go into Mythic Plus more, seeing that there's purples in there, rather than getting the blues from Mythic 0 and be like, if you get purples from Mythic 0 and you're like, oh, I'm epicked out, I'm decked out. Mythic 0 is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. But if you're getting blues from Mythic 0 and you're like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. Maybe I should go and try Mythic Plus and actually get some epics. That's what I think. I think it's a player perception thing, and I think it needs to be acknowledged, because I think it's definitely a thing. But give me your opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Give a like to the video if you liked it, and make sure to subscribe. We're almost at 100. We're so close. We're so close. We have like 9 more subscribers and we'll get to 100. But thank you guys again. Keep it rock solid and peace out.